Welcome, everyone. Today, I'll demonstrate how we can analyze employee usage of critical applications like payroll systems and provide contextual in-app support to streamline these processes. We'll be using Pendo to showcase this functionality on top of Workday, a popular HR and payroll platform. Although note that Pendo is compatible with any web-based application that you might be using within your company. For the sake of the exercise today, let's try and have a look at how our employees are accessing their payslips. Tools might be very useful for us to actually go through this in Pendo. We'd be looking at the behavioral section and especially the funnel view, which is a report that allows us to understand how our employees are progressing from, for instance, the homepage down to viewing their compensations. And it can be very useful to highlight any particular areas of frustration, like we can see on this particular second step here, which indicates that something might be going wrong in the process and that we should be taking more attention to it. And we could also leverage session replay to analyze what's been happening through the end user's lens directly. Another visualization that's important for us to consider when we're trying to improve a business process is the notion of workflow. A workflow lets us define a starting point and an endpoint. So when our employees are landing into Workday down to when they're managing to view their compensation. And we can try and display things like how many of those employees are actually completing the process, what's the average amount of time that it takes for them to complete it, as well as seeing if any of our employee base is actually struggling or perhaps has not even started the process. Now, we know that all employees are not made equal when it comes to that, just because if you've been at the company for a longer time, you might have done this previously. Therefore, we can also segment based on the tenure that an employee has within the organization to truly reflect the employees that are in need. Another consideration might be to use this segmentation even more and segment based on offices or teams. Now that we've uncovered those areas of friction, this is where we can leverage that and factor that in when creating an onboarding experience that's going to be tailored to our employees' needs. Couple examples might be welcoming the users through the application and showing them around. And those are guides that are being added directly by Pendo on top of the application, as well as asking for direct feedback from our employees to make sure that we're meeting their expectations when it comes to onboarding best practices. But it can also help me with business processes. So for instance, if I had forgotten how to consult my compensation, I can always leverage the Pendo Resource Center and have a list of articles that are specifically tailored for me. So in that case, viewing my compensation will trigger a guide that's going to help me figure my way out into viewing what I'm after. Now, in order to make sure that we've helped our employees effectively and that we've driven that change in process, we always recommend to go back into workflow and to account for all of the employees that have been going through this training. And what we're seeing in here is that we have a much higher completion rate, but then also a lower time to complete. And this is how Pendo can help you analyze employee usage of critical applications and help you streamline those processes.